Just gonna take you for a quick drive, tell you guys what I think of it. It's a 4.4 twin turbo. It just shows how, you know, how much cars have come along now. The original M5 had around 280 horsepower. This has got pretty much twice that. This weighs the best part of 2 tons as well. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how good is it. On these small roads, A roads is where I normally do most of my fun driving. Let's see how we get on. It's got loads of settings, this car, and while we're driving along, you know, I'll go through some and tell you what I think. Suspension setting can be Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus. I would say for UK roads, you're probably going to leave it in Comfort most of the time. It is pretty stiff in here. With the exhaust, when you put it into Sport, it opens the valves, so I normally leave it in Sport. Valves open, everything else in Comfort. Even the steering, you can change your weighting. In Comfort, it's still quite weighty. When you put it in Sport, Sport Plus, it gets very heavy actually. Not loads of feedback, well, not what you'd expect from an M car anyway. In terms of the cabin, you know, it's really nice. It's well loaded, it's got space for, you know, cup holders, leather everywhere. Actually feels quite special. Whether it feels that much different to a normal 5 Series, you know, I'm not sure on that. This one's got the optional Alcantara steering wheel as well. So that, you know, it's thicker, it's nice material. It gives you that special feel. Along the dashboard, you know, it's got M logos. It's got the trademark M5 mirrors. You know, it wouldn't be an M5 without having these. I think there was the early generations, the first 2 generations, the E28, the E34, they came with normal wing mirrors. And then it became a thing. Once the E36 M3 came out, that every M car needs to have special wing mirrors. And true to that tradition, this has got them. And just the little things like that, it does make it feel special inside. The seats, they're really comfortable. They've got numerous settings, lumbar adjustment, all electric. Obviously, all of these things are what's contributing to the car just weighing so much. But you know, like I said, it does hide its weight well. It's a good compromise. If you want a family car that, you know, you can have a bit of fun in, then something like this is great. It's not gonna move around like an Elise or proper sports car that's, you know, nice and light. It's never gonna do that, but it's a good compromise. The tyres on these make a big difference as well. This has got a Michelin Pilot 4S. You know, one of the stickiest tyres you can get at the moment. That's made a big difference. Otherwise it was spinning up, you know, it was spinning at 50, 60, 70 miles an hour even. Now it just kind of grips and goes. Gearbox, really good. Instant response on it. And it's got 7-speed as well. I mean, the gearbox itself, most people, you're going to end up driving it probably in automatic. It's so good, there isn't really a need to take over manually. But if you do, it's still fun. It's not the same as having a third pedal, but still it gives you enough control. And manual means manual. It will literally hold it at the red line until you shift up. It won't shift automatically for you. Equally though, it won't let you stall the car. So if you're at risk of stalling the car, it will literally drop gear automatically, but it will never shift up. So going back to the cornering, it really does hold on. You know, you won't reach the limit on the handling side, definitely on public roads, you just won't do it. It can really take the corners well. Equally, it's not really going to make a great track car, it's just too heavy. I can see why the new one is 4-wheel drive, the G series. This is probably the limit of what you can achieve traction wise on rear wheel drive. And you know, if you put your foot down, there comes a point where, you know, physically you just can't put the power down. So I can't imagine how fast the new one is. And you know, I've not driven it yet, but I would imagine the faster it is, the less fun it is as well. At least with this, you've got to be a bit careful. It keeps you on your toes. The brakes, you know, the size of these discs are massive, front and back. They completely fill up the wheels, and it's definitely needed on a car like this. The brake, you know, the pedal feels great. You won't really experience fade unless you're doing some really hard driving. You know, 6-pot calipers on the front, 4 pots on the back. So really good spec, much better than what you would have got in the E39, even the E60, the V10 M5. The brakes were always a weak point, and the gearbox on that was terrible. This is just, you know, miles better. And this gearbox, you know, they use it. BMW use it in the M4. They use it in the M2. They've used it in all sorts, so it is very reliable. So one of the other things is, even the gearbox, it's got settings. You know, how aggressive do you want the gears? Now the old M5, the E46 M3 SMGs, they had about 7 different settings. This has just got 3. So that just affects how quick and how aggressive that changes. In the most aggressive setting, you know, you can really feel it shifting through the gears, and it can even upset the back end slightly. If you have it in the lowest setting, then it starts driving in 2nd gear. That's what it takes off in. So good compromise, leave it in the middle. It also, for some strange reason, it also affects how high it revs. So under normal driving, say you put it in the most aggressive setting, the engine will just rev out that little bit more. You know, it might change up at 4 revs, even though you're driving it really gently. So that, you know, it doesn't really make much sense. It should really be on the accelerator. So again, like I said, you can really set this car up. Can be a bit of an issue if you've got multiple drivers and things, but there are settings there, you know, even the memory seats and things, that can all be set. So at least if you've got 1 or 2 regular drivers, it can be set up. If you've got loads of people driving the car, it's going to be a headache to get it to what they want. Everything's electric on this car, even the steering wheel adjusts up and down electrically, in and out, reach and rake. Right, so we're just going to do the usual MPG test. 60 miles an hour, 10 miles. I say this all the time, it's not realistic, but it is something that we can compare car by car. So let's see what this thing does. It's 7-speed, it's cruising at around 1500 revs at 60 miles an hour. So, you know, let's see what it goes for. It should be at least 25, I'm guessing. But let's see what happens. 35.9, which, you know, it's really good considering it's 4.4 twin turbo petrol, no hybrid. Mind you, weather's nice, engine's warmed up as well. You know, I would imagine on average motorway run at 70, it's going to do about 30 mpg, and probably around town I've seen about 21, 22. I'd normally drive with the stop start off anyway, because it doesn't do the turbos any good, so you probably get a little bit more if you left that off. So all in all, not bad. Gives the car a range of about 450 miles in the full tank. So yeah, really good. These cars are actually really important to run it on premium fuel. So, you know, Momentum 99, V-Power, because it's turbocharged, even as a stock engine, it's going to still benefit from better fuel. Whereas if you have something naturally aspirated, it won't make a huge difference, but anything with a turbo on it does make a big difference. Guys, so yeah, this M5, I mean, all the other ones, yeah, E39's been amazing. The E60, that's going to be a legend because of the naturally aspirated V10. This car's using the same engine as what you get in the 550. As you know, most new M cars, M3, M4 using the same engines what you get in 335i, 440i, things like that. It's just not as special. So, you know, from that angle, whether you know, these are going to become legends. Like, it's not even, you could argue this is the last rear-wheel drive M5, but the new one's four-wheel drive, and it's got an option to make it rear-wheel drive just at a touch of a button. So, you know, good car, really enjoyed driving it. Definitely a good compromise if you've got a family, you know, really good family car, and when you really want to go for it, you can enjoy this car. I would imagine somewhere in Germany on the Autobahn, this would be really, really stable, way beyond what you can use it in the UK. But even on our small A roads and things, it's pretty good. You just got to get it all set up right and see what works for you. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.